This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot, toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Mark Martinez. I'm being dignified today, guys. Joining me long distance from, I don't know, a coal field. It looks like you just got done making pizza sauce. You also look like Yosemite Sam. I don't know what the hell's going on with you. The English Professor, and in studio, what? You're pissed off at me already. What did I do?
We got to do this right.
What do we have to do right?
Just my introduction. I'm back. The glorious Guru is back.
And now you're part of the Shield. The glorious Guru, the non-technically savvy bear slayer, Chad. Welcome back. We've missed you in 2 weeks. We really have.
It's good to be back. I've missed the banter. And I've also seen that our ratings have gone down, so I knew why, too. So
Of course.
I had to be back. Yeah.
Of course. So, before we get into wrestling, I tell either one of you this. I have to stop for a minute, and it blows my mind what Can Crusher Nation does. During the email this week, it was actually Thursday, I got 10, 12, 15 emails from Can Crusher Nation that if you were standing in the room and you said who your name is, I couldn't pinpoint who you are. And that's no disrespect because we have a ton of fans and followers. But to the Can Crusher Nation that sent, hope you're doing okay on this day, thank you. I wasn't gonna. I was gonna kind of just, not go to the wayside. I've had my moments already, but to the emails that I did get, and I really don't know how to say this, but thank you. It's been a year since my mom passed, and you guys took, time out of your day to actually send an email and say, hey, Mark, we know you're probably struggling today, and condolences still, and all that. You made me cry. Thank you very much. And I mean that. I mean that because that we really don't know you guys. And you take a time to be part of this crazy-ass family and part of my family. Thank you. I sincerely love you. I really do.
It's well said, Mark. I can't believe it. Can't believe it's been a year already, buddy. That's tough. That's tough.
So we're kind of doing. All right. Before I cry again, I've cried enough this week.
You can laugh at me. Laugh at me already. As soon as we came on.
So let's find out about this because we have time. Because I'm pretty sure that we can get through wrestling pretty goddamn fast today. And on the tail end of this, this is a tale of two shows. You guys are on right now to cover wrestling in general. And then last night, I was at Super Indy with IRS Soup. At the end of the show, we're going to cover Super Indy and tell you what went on there, as we normally do for IWC. Great show, by the way, but Soup will come on. why the hell are you dressed up like... It's not Halloween yet. I mean, you shouldn't be looking like Jinder Mahal or Bart
Jesse
Scott
Ryan.
or whoever the hell you were for the Jets.
That was Rex Ryan, that costume. Well,
Yeah.
okay. Today, the reason I'm dressed the way I'm dressed, which is like an old shabby white shirt, pullover shirt, like a cotton or, I don't know, brown pants, suspenders, and a cabbie hat, is I'm a reenactor today of a post-Civil War steel mill worker. So that's why.
So
that's
you're
why
not-
I couldn't go to...
You're not doing any work.
I'm not actually doing any work. No, this all this grime on me is actually my wife's eyeshadow.
Do you have to put some on your face? Or are you part of the
Yeah.
culmination here in a little bit?
Yeah, I am going to put some on my face too. Yeah, when I get there.
Oh, nice.
So that's why I didn't go to IWC last night. And actually, I haven't watched a lot of wrestling this week because I was at a couple of rehearsals. But that's why I'm dressed now, because as soon as we're done, I got to get the hell out of here and go reenact a guy who got killed in the mines years ago.
Nice.
But, you guys say I look like I'm making pizza sauce or shining shoes, Chad said before we came on, or
No, I said you look
Right.
like a little bookie that,
running numbers. Yeah,
Running
somebody said I look
numbers.
like I'm shining shoes.
That was awesome. Yeah. You look good.
Thanks.
Was it fun last night?
It was fun. Yeah, it really was. It was educational. Little kids, older people, everybody came. It was a lot of fun. I've never done anything like this.
You're going to do it again.
Yeah, if they do it again next year, they do it every year. Yeah, absolutely. It's good. It's decent money for a weekend.
Maybe you can be something else next year.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know what. We'll see.
What else is there?
There's all sorts of things. Like I said, I'm a Civil War era steel mill worker, but it's about McKeesport, which is west of Pittsburgh. It's not far from where we go to IWC, so I was actually in the neighborhood. But there's people from McKeesport that fought in Vietnam, people in McKeesport that fought in World War II, and it's not just war, it's whatever, steel mill workers, just people that served for their city and built their city and that sort of thing. They all do like a little speech, and it's kind of run like, if you could imagine a museum where you go in and you listen to one thing, then you go into another room and it's on a constant loop, only we are a live constant loop. So as soon as I'm done, the next group comes in and I start over again.
Is Starship there playing "We Built This City"?
Yeah,
We
you
built
can hear it in the
this
background.
For real?
No.
Oh. Random thoughts. Other than that, Chad just walked back in from Maine, so we're good to go. Why not start with the best right off the bat? Because that's what we do. Guys, I'm going to say this early. Next week is Ask Can Crushers. So this is a push to get your questions in. Send them to cancrushers69@gmail.com. We've been waiting for the show again. We really love this show. I know now that I have about 15 in the docket. So hopefully about 10 more of you guys get it in, because that takes care of, 25 is where we kind of put the cap, because we banter lots about these questions that you guys send us. So get 10 more questions sent in. Double them up if you want to. That's fine. But cancrushers69@gmail.com, and you'll get on air next week. We'll mention your name, where you're from, whatever, in your question, and then we'll try to answer it during the segment of we normally do Ask Can Crushers that we love so much. It was a rough week this week in wrestling. Not because anything bad happened, because the shows weren't great. So let's start with the show that NXT. We'll start with NXT because Pillar of the Post, it was the best show, correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Of what I saw, yeah.
And what a way to start the show. You start with the best thing of the year so far. Right now, it has now become the only match on my short list. Finn Balor and Adam Cole freaking delivered. John said last week that the 4-way was probably match of the year. You're a fool if you don't think this outshined what that was. I'll let you guys talk about it real quick, but they outdid themselves once again. A 1916 from the top rope, and Balor's your new champ. Run with it now, guys.
I'll agree with you. You know, last week I thought that was match of the year, at least near the top. I think this was better. So I guess no one's ever kicked out of the coup de grace. Is that true? They said no one ever kicked out until Adam Cole.
I don't know. I have to believe.
Yeah. The match itself was fantastic. Great chain wrestling at the beginning. Finn Balor is really something special. I know I've mentioned like Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, their work in the ring is up there. They are certainly excellent. Finn Balor is just special. He really is. He makes everybody better. Adam Cole, I'll say this, he's very good. Now, notice I've used excellent and special. With Adam Cole, I'll use very good. I think he has the potential for Scott Hall, Kevin Nash level of coolness. Obviously, in the ring, he's worlds better than those guys. But that level of coolness, if he just downplays things a little. I want to go back to the week before just very quickly when Regal said, all right, there's a tie, then you guys have to fight each other. Balor just had a look. He looked like a boss. Like, yeah, all right, let's do it now. I'll whip his ass right now. Cole just oversells a little. I know it's wrestling, and saying that someone is overdoing something maybe sounds stupid, but he just overdoes it a little bit. You kick out of a Finn Balor pin, and his mind is just going to that next move, that next thing he has to do to win. You kick out of an Adam Cole pin, and the reaction is just a little too much. I want to see a little bit more too cool for school out of Adam Cole, and then I think he's there. Match-wise, this was superb.
Yeah, I think this was a great match between two of the premier guys in wrestling across the board today. So much for Vince's outlook on Finn Balor being bland, and both Finn Balor and Adam Cole not going to be well received by the fans because they're small. Again, that just goes to show how out of touch Vince is. But these guys just they stepped up their game once again. For a TV match, definitely this was a 5-star match. I don't see how they could have much improved. I think if it would have gone on longer, it would have drug out too much. If it was shorter, it wouldn't have done them justice.
Half an hour was perfect. I agree.
But I think this, with Adam Cole as a side note, they're turning him. With the lack of baby faces on the roster, I think they're turning him.
I agree. You saw it during his promo at the end that he already teased that. You've seen that Undisputed Era is kind of coming out separated anymore. You saw it later on, actually, in the night that Fish and Strong came out by themselves. You saw O'Reilly 2 weeks ago kind of not wanting Fish and Strong to beat the shit out of whoever he did. So that sucks. That sucks right there, that you're having the strongest, and I think I might be the one saying this, and Chad might echo me. John might have something else to say about this, but I think the Undisputed Era was the best faction in the landscapes of WWE for a long time. I think they were much better than the Shield. The Shield 6.0 happened 17 times, and this, that, and the other. The Undisputed Era for the last few years just was rock steady across the board.
100% agree, Mark. The Shield had its moments where they were cool, where even though they were baby faces, they were just beating the crap out of guys and putting them through tables, and they were done playing. And then maybe next week they weren't because Vince splatted some other shit against the wall and changed his mind about something. I don't know. Absolutely. These guys were the coolest. They had the longevity. They had the belts. They are the very best faction in a long time.
I agree with both of you guys, but one thing that you left out, or I think you left out when describing them versus the other guys like the Shield and that, is these guys weren't forced down our throats. They weren't constantly, pushed and pushed and pushed like the Shield was, like Roman Reigns was. And I think the believability factor with these guys was there, and I think that alone put them up over the Shield as a better faction. For sure.
And they're old school. They were very horseman-like. Watch their matches. They get the shit kicked out of them for 19 of the 20 minutes, but find a way to win. That's old school faction right there.
Yeah. Next up was a Robert Stone type of thing. Io, Shotzi, Aaliyah were all involved about Robert Stone trying to get the tank, this, that, and the other. I watched it, but I kind of wasn't paying attention all in all. More or less, Shotzi ends up laying waste, and Io just walks away from them, not really caring what happened.
Yeah, this was a fustercluck. It was like, okay, next.
So, Io Shirai was doing a photo shoot, as I get the Mark air quotes in today. Okay, it got interrupted. You've got to be used to that as a wrestler. Fights are going to break out everywhere. That was a bit of an overreaction. She beat the shit out of her for interrupting her photo shoot. Just like, oh, geez, get out of here. I'm doing a photo shoot. And then go back. But, man, she just pummeled it. It was too much. It just wasn't nice. It took more time to beat her up than it would have taken for you to go finish your pictures.
It was that oversell that you just brought up.
Yeah.
It was.
In her defense, maybe it was kind of that time of the month and got her on wrong foot. I don't know.
Yeah,
give the girl a break.
Okay. Next up, I'm gonna just take all these segments and we're gonna talk about them right now. Tegan comes to her Gargano house. This whole thing, I don't know if they knew when they were writing this where it was going. At first, Johnny says, what the hell am I doing here? The second segment, the girls were bantering, but I don't know if the cameras were turned down that you could barely hear what they were saying. And then the last segment, Johnny loses his TV and there's spaghetti everywhere. We knew this was going to happen, that, LeRae and Knox were not going to be on the same page ever, but I don't know. This was a attitude era type of garbage just thrown together. I didn't care. I would have rather seen them sit in the middle of the ring and say, I hate you because you're a bitch and you're, a bastard and let's just fight. This was just drawn out way too long.
It was a bit much, yeah. I'm not really sure what to say about this. Tegan Knox ends up dumping spaghetti on Johnny Gargano's head, and why did he throw his remote? Was it after he got spaghetti dumped on him, or he got pissed off?
The TV broke because she threw a shoe or something, and she broke the TV.
She broke the TV. That's holy cow. So she's a guest. She dumps food, smashes their TV.
No, LeRae threw the...
Oh, yeah, LeRae threw it at
shoe.
Knox, yeah.
Okay. Well, like Chad said, it's a fustercluck. I don't remember much of what happened here other than they weren't getting along. She dumped spaghetti, and Gargano was upset that his TV broke. I think with all the overproduction in the main brands, I think NXT here was going for something maybe a little more realistic, just to show them in their natural environment without all the extra angles and better sound. I don't know. But you're right. It sounded like they were in another room almost, and we were eavesdropping on them.
Yeah. And how come they didn't see the cameraman there? If this was supposed to be a private meeting?
Yeah, you would think. Yeah. Maybe just private as far as who's allowed in the house.
This angle...
We're talking about this way too long, by the way.
But this reminded me, and I'll take you guys back to when Ric Flair thought he was going to have Jimmy Garvin's Precious in a motel room, and it was Ronnie Garvin in drag. But the most disturbing part about it was J.J. Dillon being in the closet wanting to watch. That's what this reminded me of.
Underwear, and J.J. Dillon is like so happy for him that He's going to get laid and spraying the bed with cologne. And JJ was a little too excited for Ric Flair. Yeah, you're right.
This was about where that one ranked.
All right, we're moving. I love the Thatch's Thatch Can Be segments. Just describing his style and what he's going to do to Priest when he gets Damien in the ring. I love the Thatch's Thatch Can things.
I do too. They are great promos. He points out everything Priest does and how he's game planning for it. He does whatever, so he leaves his leg exposed. Boom, that's a half crab. And he leaves his feet, which is just stupid. I love this guy. I like his matches, and I like the character. It's great. I can't believe no one's ever thought of this until now.
Believability, again, he's pointing it out. He's not just being stupid. He actually is, okay, he's doing this and this. When he does it, I'm going to, rip his leg off and shove it down his throat.
It's game planning for wrestling.
Yeah.
We see it in football and baseball. You bring a lefty in to pitch to a lefty, or you do a running play when they're in prevent defense, right? Boom.
Yep, there it is.
The Dream against Ashanti Adonis. This Ashanti Adonis guy has a good look. He needs something else. He's a little bit young, I want to say, because I don't like using green because we're green, guys. We don't know shit about the business, but what we try to say. But he looks young. For what this was, the match was good to showcase Adonis. Dream does get the win, but what happened afterward, I didn't see this coming, and wow, Kushida's one of my favorite right now. I've always liked Kushida, but what he does, holy hell.
Just beating the shit out of and Dream, that's all this match was for. Unfortunately, was for the, afterthought, the angle after it. Yeah, Kushida, he looks like a badass when he
brings it.
Wants to act like it. I mean, he could, be the typical bumbling guy or mid-card guy, but when he wants to act like an ass, he really does.
I agree with you, Mark. Ashanti Adonis has a good look. And in the brief time we saw him in the ring, he looks skilled. He looks qualified. Quick win for Velveteen Dream. And, yeah, like you say, at the end, he was on the apron caught in an armbar maybe? Or it wasn't like the figure four around the – no, it was an armbar.
Yeah.
But hanging off the apron. Yeah, that looked pretty devastating. Accomplished what it was supposed to accomplish. I like Velveteen Dream. I think he's still near the top of the NXT ladder. He's probably got knocked down a few rungs because he's been away and other guys have improved, but he's still pretty darn good.
Next matchup, Bronson Reed against Austin Theory. I'm not into either one of these guys, and I want to know how, when I hit you on the top of your head, either one of you, Chad, I hit you with the dusty elbow on the top of your head, how does it make you flip forward?
Yeah, that was a little bit of, it was like reverse Mr. Perfect. Like Dusty could elbow Mr. Perfect and he would completely do a 180, but he'd go in the direction that the elbow sent him. Yeah, this guy, Theory, got elbowed and then flipped forward. I'm not sure how the hell that works. Other than that, I thought this was pretty good. I've been critical of Bronson Reed. I think he was getting pushed a little too hard too soon. He showed me something in this match. There was some major physicality with his strikes, with, like, for lack of a better term, his avalanches in the corner, his squashes in the corner. I like this match. I like the brutality and the physicality I'm seeing out of Bronson Reed.
The only way I can figure out that he flipped from the elbow is maybe he was, thinking he was Humpty Dumpty reversed and, fell forward that way. I don't know. He's like the main roster's version of Otis. Nothing.
We're probably going to have a guest on the show here in a matter of seconds. The wife's at work and the dog's down here, and he's ready to play with Chad. So you're going to get a bark or two here in a minute because he's got toy in mouth ready to go. Mickey hasn't been on the show in a little bit, and he just wants to make his presence known. So we might as well just announce him that he's coming on shortly. Next matchup is Roddy Strong against Killian Dane. This match was good, but it's still only to tell the story. Again, back-to-back matches to tell the story after the match. Split these up. That's the only thing I'm going to say. That I didn't even say it pisses me off, but it's the same thing. It's the story that after the match that you're really invested in. Drake Maverick gets his ass beat again.
Yeah. Another, like you said, just aftermath furthering. This show, once Adam Cole's match was done, and that was just filler material.
But it was good filler. We'll give you something that wasn't good filler.
I think they could have broken some of it up and made the show a little bit better.
So, you would think Drake Maverick would have looked at weeks past and seen what happened. Killian Dane, you come out, you help him out, and then he punches you and leaves. That's what he does. So I don't know why Drake Maverick thought he would get treated differently. Right. The match itself forwarded a couple of stories. The Undisputed Era is maybe splitting off into some different directions. You had the beatdown after the match until Drake Maverick came in and made the save, and then you have Dane knocking Maverick out. As a whole, and I know we're not done with the show yet, but in thinking of the show so far, the great shows will finish stories, advance stories, start stories. This just seemed like it was a good show, but it seemed like one long show of advancing little things. No great big breakouts. Nothing that definitely finished, and nothing that advanced anything too much. It was all sort of a show of baby steps, which is okay. But those sorts of shows are never great.
Yeah, and you're going to get those because you can't do, let's go by six-packs, you can't do 6 cans of beer shows every week.
Right.
Or, but you also don't want to throw in a 2.5, can of beer show back-to-back weeks. This was before we get to the main event, this was a 4 for me. It was enough. Like I said prior to I took notes watching it, and then I skimmed through it again yesterday before I went to Super Indy just to see, okay, what did I really miss that, or did I, open match, closed match were the show as we get to the main event. So, and the main event was Rhea Ripley and my cousin Mercedes Martinez in a cage, and they brought it. This was brutal. I could have done with a little bit less of the weapons. This was their first match, and I know they've heated up, backstage, and they've had scuffles here and there, but is this over already? Because it was a one match, holy shit, she's done. Boom. And now Mercedes Martinez is let go from the Robert Stone brand as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes, because you're right. Was it a one-off? They jumped into the cage right away. It was a really good match. I'm going to sound like a total mark for Bret Hart again, but when you think of cage matches that lack cage brutality, Bret and Owen kind of set the bar for that. They started that. They both said it didn't have to be a bloodbath. In that regard, I agree with you, Mark, a little too much with the weapons. And I would have liked to have seen some instances where I really thought someone was going to leave the cage. I never quite felt, someone was almost climbing out, because it was pinfall, submission, or you can exit, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I never felt like anybody was really close. That's what the drama is in a cage match, is in the WWE anyways. Who's going to get out? I could have used a little more of that, maybe a little less of the sticks and everything else. Overall, though, I thought it was still very, very good. They did bring it. You're absolutely right about that, Mark.
Yeah, I'll just say the missing drama, like John said, got to have the drama going over the cage or out the cage. And then I just question, why is this going to be a one and done? This had the potential to be a couple of match series that you could have gotten into. Have a shitty finish the first match, an interference, and have a rematch, and then put him in Hell in a Cell or something.
Yeah, where Robert
like
Stone
that.
can't climb in the top and be dead on the corner for half an hour.
Yeah, something like that. But otherwise, yeah, I agree with everything guys said. It was a good, brutal match.
So we're going to kind of shift gears, and we're going to bring you the news right now. And then our middle section this week will be AEW and WWE as a whole. Guys, because they kind of both are on the same page this week. Just leave it at that. But, Chad, NWA is coming back. And I know you, Thursday night, you were down having some beers with me, and we saw this, and we're pretty pumped. John knows a little bit about what we talked about prior to recording, but I'll let you run with this as it's going to be on Fight TV now.
Yeah, we had talked about this probably a month ago. There was rumors that they were coming back and doing a weekly pay-per-view, and there's all kinds of prices being thrown around. Well, it's come out. It's going to be on Fight TV. They're selling $8 an episode or $24 for all 4 episodes. It's going to have all the NWA champions on it. All this is going to be defending his title against Mike Bennett. MLW superstar Hammerstone is going to be defending West Coast title on it. It just looks like all the people that they're going to have on it, it looks like it's going to be a reemergent. It is not just NWA, though. It is partnered with...
Isn't it Hollywood Championship
Hollywood
Wrestling?
Championship Wrestling, United Wrestling Network. Primetime Live is what they're calling it.
And let's not pull punches. We checked on the dish, on my dish, and we scrolled through 8 and 9 o'clock on Tuesday night. It's not on a cable, there's my air quotes, network, so to speak. It's going to be on Fight. It might be on a cable network out where Hollywood takes place or something, kind of like OVW does their own, and then they put it on Roku. So the mass majority of this, people are going to watch it on Fight TV, and I'm probably going to pull the trigger either today or tomorrow once I get the okay from the boss that it's $25. I could slide that right under the...
And you get a couple of dollars in credits,
right,
for ordering it, like that. So it's not going to be too bad. It is supposed to be, I read this morning, available on Dish and DirecTV, but you're looking at $13 a episode
because they need their kickback.
So we'll see. I'd rather get it on Fight TV for less and drop it into the computer, or drop it from the computer to the TV.
And we have a code for that. I'll post that Tuesday as well, so you can get some credits as well. So, John, any thoughts on...
I am excited for NWA to be back. And, Mark, before we came on, I know you mentioned Fight TV, and maybe you just said it and I missed it. I don't know, but it's how much? Because it's not like the old days of YouTube where you jump on and you watch it for free, right?
No, it's... If you buy the first 4 episodes, I'm rounding, it's $25. If you buy $24, it's $24. If you buy them individually, it's $8.99. So if you
$7.99.
$7.99, whatever. So if you buy them individually, you're going to spend $32. If you buy them
in the bundle,
4 at a time.
Yeah, 4 at a time. You're gonna buy 3 get 1 free, more or less.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So
Plus, like I said, you'll get a couple of dollars in credits towards,
your next pay-per-view.
your next purchase or whatever.
And speaking of the NWA, I wonder what's going to come of the women's championship, because you saw what my girl Allison Kay had to say after Thunder Rosa embarrassed the company and shamed the brand or whatever else she said. Holy cow, she was brutal on her.
All I can say is watch the episode of the wrestling, the pay-per-view, because they're both featured as being Thunder Rosa's defending her title and Allison Kay also appearing. So,
spoiler for the AWA, I wish. The AEW segment. Thunder Rosa is defending the NWA title yet again this Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what basketball does, against Ivelisse on Dynamite again this week. So you're going to get some more NWA on regular TV as well. This morning I woke up, I did see that there's been a trade in WWE. Mandy Rose is sent to Raw, pretty much killing Chad's favorite storyline between her and Otis. John, does that make you sad?
Yeah, that's too bad. I was enjoying that. What can you do? I guess they're moving on.
You know, this is typical Vince. He is a cock blocker. And that's what this trade is doing. You know, I mean, come on. Otis has finally have something beautiful and get something beautiful. And Vince, nope, if I can't have her, trade her. Fuck Vince.
All right. We'll leave the last segment. We'll start with news on the next segment, but we have to tell you about Collar and Elbow. Guys, you saw the new fall line is out. They got some sweet 80s style shirts. You can still get our favorite Macho Man shirt that I have on right now. You have the Dusty shirts. You have their normal Collar and Elbow shirts. And then you have the Shad Gaspar that's still out there. And all proceeds, so that's a big word for me today, go to Shad's family. And use the Can Crusher code, Can Crushers, all one word, capital C's in Can and capital C in Crusher. And you get 10% off, and you kick back to us to help. Today it would be buy iced tea or Gatorade and coffee, but other days it helps supply the beer in the old studio.
Yeah, I'm not wearing my...
You were not.
I'm not wearing my Collar and Elbow shirt today. I will later when I'm done, when I want to put something comfy on.
Steelworkers didn't know anything about Collar and Elbow?
They, probably not about that brand, but I'm willing to bet that back in the day, the steel mill workers engaged in some Collar and Elbow. Oh. I'm sure they settled things via some good old-fashioned wrestling.
I'm surprised with that outfit John has on. He doesn't have a, booze bottle and a brown paper sack drinking out.
I do, actually. Those are my props. I have a liquor bottle and not a sack, but an authentic old-fashioned lunch pail. And this thing is old and rusty, but it is a period piece lunch pail.
So you look like a drunk Otis, then.
Yep.
You're telling me.
And about 300 pounds later.
At least 300 pounds later. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with one more bit of news and then cover AEW and WWE.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Yes, sir, this is B. Brian Blair asking you to turn into the Can Crushers podcast, or you're going to get stung.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. It is I, the Civil War era steel mill worker, joined by your host Mark Martinez, and Chad the Guru's got some news for us.
The glorious one. Jeez, don't forget.
The
glorious Guru. See,
you've added that to the name. Okay, the glorious Guru has news for us.
Amateurs. Outside of wrestling, I just came across this. You guys know Wee Man from Jackass movies.
I do.
The little dude. Contrary to the rumors, he did not die. It was another little person that quite resembles him in the Jackass movies that passed away.
Oh.
If anybody's seen that. Just something I seen because it was like Wee Man died, and I was like, oh, man, no freaking way. No, it's not him. But wrestling news.
All right. I was wondering how the hell that got caught into this.
I came across it here, and I know they've all been on the wrestling at one time or another.
They have.
Unfortunately. But, so we had two controversies come up this week. Jim Ross, in the AEW match where Anna Jay was with the Dork Order, made a comment. Did Anna Jay just have a wardrobe malfunction, or am I dreaming too much? Or wishful thinking? So everybody's, fucking dirty old man and, objectifying women and everything like that. Okay. This is just me. But what the hell do you think that they're out there and dressed like that for? I mean, not to objectify. No, I'm not saying that. But come on. They come out there, they're dressed like that. It's eye candy. Whether you go to the degree that Vince goes to, being a dirty old man, or just a simple comment like that. Come on. And people are calling for him to be fired. It's like, get fucking real.
Everybody, and I know it's different times. I'll say that first, but nobody would ever say anything about that, about Stacy Keibler or Sable coming out with pasties, and it was part of the show. Somebody says it like JR did, and live, I don't even know if I heard it live. I really don't know if I heard it live. I don't know. We're very sensitive about everything now. John, I don't like your brown suspenders. You can take that how you like it.
Okay. Wow. Well, I think you should be fired from the show for that. That's insensitive. Yeah, holy cow. I can't believe this. Chad, I'm with you. Totally. It is not for the purpose of objectification, but obviously it's to attract attention to their features, to their looks. And you could say the same. I am sure some of the Can Crushers listeners, wrestling fans in general, women, men, whatever, that like men. Randy Orton's a good-looking guy. He's ripped to shreds. He's in there in boots and little skivvies. Is he nice to look at? If you like men, I'm sure he's nice to look at. It's not to say like Beth Phoenix or any of the female commentators have ever said, oh, wow, I hope he has a wardrobe malfunction. But I don't know. I'm not saying you have to excuse the older guy, and I'm starting to think maybe JR's time has come. This is not the reason. This is not the reason JR's time has come. I don't see the big deal. I don't see the big deal, and I'm surprised, frankly, that people are making a big deal of this. But as far as JR goes, I love him. He may be the best. Ric Flair said he has surpassed Gordon Soley. Maybe you'll disagree with that, Chad, but I think maybe his time has come.
I'm a huge fan of JR. Met him in Maryland one time, and I agree. I'm not saying he's mailing it in. I'm stealing this a little bit from Chad. He's not mailing it in. I just think his heart is completely not in it. And John, we talked about this. I think they don't give JR everything that's going to happen, and he tries to add his old school ad-libs at times, and sometimes they don't fit anymore. And he just, I don't know.
He doesn't seem to fit a lot when you have Excalibur next to him spouting off, having to name every move and act like he knows what the hell he's doing just because he was, a featured jobber in PWG. But I think Jim Ross would be better received if he wasn't on the weekly show, if he was only on pay-per-views and stuff like that. I just think it's a little much.
But you need somebody with Tony. Tony needs to be every week. But I was talking with Soup at Super Indy last night, and not giving everything away. Somebody got thrown into a barrier, and I said to Soup that Excalibur would have told us where the concrete was made down in Pittsburgh, from what kind of limestone was put into it, and like there's shit that I just don't care about what he comes out of his mouth.
They do it. Tony's the good color guy, the good interview, and that, and adds a little bit in there. If you wanted to get somebody else in there, why in the hell did you not get Stu Bennett?
He is the hottest thing right now on
why?
On
I cannot imagine with the money that they threw, and we'll get into this with the AEW talk a little more, with the money they've thrown to some of the garbage wrestlers that they have on that show or Dark, why the hell wouldn't you get somebody like him for commentary? But
next piece.
Anybody see the Jim Cornette controversy this week?
I didn't see this one.
John?
I've actually been listening to some Jim Cornette podcasts. Actually, obviously not the most recent. I'll go back and listen to some old ones, but I've listened to some recent ones. But I am not aware of a controversy that's going on with him.
He had, this was beginning of the week, he gets on Twitter at certain times, and he got, scrolls through all the tweets that he gets, and he come across one, big capital letters, "Hey, Jim, fuck you." He's like,
as normal.
He's like, okay, that's normal. I usually get about 1,000, 1,500 of those a week. And he said, so I replied back, "Below me." So
that's a normal response from him.
That's a normal response from him. So the next morning he gets up, and all these tweets and everything have come through. Oh, Jim Cornette's a pedophile, and he's not objectifying. He's trying to solicit sex from a 16-year-old. And he's like, what the fuck are they talking about? So he goes on this person's profile. Here it was a 16-year-old girl that sent him this. And by him saying, "below me," he was supposedly soliciting sex from a minor.
So you're telling me every time he responds to somebody, he's got to click their link and do a whole background check?
That is what numerous, well, don't you check people's profiles? He's like, fuck no, I don't check their profiles. Unless there's something on there that, okay, Jim hates Trump and, guns and stuff and everything like that. Unless he sees something like that pop up, he doesn't really look at their profiles.
That's ridiculous. That's outright outlandish.
Boy, this is tough. I'm on the fence about this because I don't think he's soliciting sex from a minor. However, you got to be careful these days. Should have just kept scrolling. Should have not responded with that. You can make the argument, because we don't know, maybe he did click on their profile. And maybe he did think, oh, wow, she's 16 and she's cute. I want her to blow me. You got to be careful, man. I'm with you guys, but you have to be careful. That was a spontaneous decision he made to jab somebody back. He is not in a position, being who he is, a celebrity, to just be spontaneous like that. Sorry, it comes with the territory. He's got to be more careful than that. Right or wrong, it's the sort of thing that can get him in trouble.
Yeah. No,
yeah. I see that point.
Are you going to click on every profile?
No, of course not. No. I've gotten in arguments with people and not knowing who the hell I'm talking to. At the same time, I'm a nobody.
Touche. You were not, though. You were the steelworker English professor. All right.
Bookie runner.
Laundry boy. Whatever. AEW this week. It starts off with Jericho and MJF meeting in the parking lot, and overall, guys, I thought AEW was a little lackluster. But this opening segment was cool. They both went at each other, and then they turned, and they both called each other a loser underneath their own breath. It was good. It was a good little thing.
So my son insisted that AEW would be available immediately on demand. I found that hard to believe because then you just wouldn't watch it when it's on and they want the ratings. So I was at a rehearsal. He decided to play with a friend so that he and I could watch it together at a later date. So last night, I said, okay, if you can find it on demand. And he was like, it's not on demand. I was like, yep, I know. So, I'm sorry. I was like, nah, it's all right. So I don't know what the hell happened. I read about it. You keep saying it was a bit of a lackluster show. All I'm seeing is A's and B's from Bleacher Report. It sounded awesome, but you're shaking your head, Chad. So we don't always agree. We rarely agree, actually. The three of us rarely agree with Bleacher Report.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I think maybe they were having Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles watch the shit then, because this was not a good show.
Next up was the Lucha Brothers against Jurassic Express. Jurassic Express gets the win after I don't understand the finish of this match. Jungle Boy was in the move from the top rope, and then I don't know if it was spliced or if it was live, and then all of a sudden he takes the move, and then he's standing up to get a roll-up pin or something. I don't understand how this the Lucha Brothers, spike pile driver or whatever they do, cripples people. It puts them in the hospital. It ends feuds. And Jungle Boy kind of no-sells it and does something, and it's still causing, this match, again, was a storyline match, causing rifts between the Kingston clan is what we call them here. I don't know what else, there's no name to them yet, but the Kingston clan, I don't know what the really god-awful hell happened.
I was lost watching it. I was like, okay, he got a pin. How the fuck did he get from this point to that point? And then they started, bitch slapping each other afterwards, and Kingston was, playing the peacemaker, and I'm like, this is not the role that I want to see Kingston in AEW with these guys.
But he does bring up a point after he gets everybody on the same page again that, John, I thought I laid it to rest last week, but it's back. He looks at the camera and says, remember, I was never eliminated from the Battle Royal. And then AEW, the announcer, said, well, yeah, because he went through the middle rope or through the bottom, so he was never. So my point of him saying sitting on the top rope said he was on the top rope or whatever last week. They're going to run with this, apparently. At some point, they're going to run with this, that he was never eliminated. It's going to probably take months for somebody to look at the film. But
either they're listening to us or we just guessed the storyline accurately. I want to believe they're listening to us and they're like, oh, shit, those guys are right. We better rewrite this. So that's what I think happened. Because, I said last week, had he been thrown over the opposite direction, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Over the post, let's say. Then he's gone over a rope. But just sitting on the top rope, to me, was not an elimination. One other point I want to make to Chad's point, where, to paraphrase him, he said, how the fuck did he get from point A to point B? Mark, you and I talked about this a little bit at length on a phone call or a text or something. When we talk to the Killer Bees, and we always bring them up, they're such good guys, but so knowledgeable. And we didn't fully appreciate or understand what we were hearing from them until we see moments like what you guys are describing. How did he get from point A to point B? This thought of no selling anymore, they both complained about it. No more baby faces, nobody sells anymore. It's not just a matter of devastating move, 1-2 kick out. It's devastating move, 1-2 kick out. All of a sudden that guy gets up and now he's on the top rope. Like, how? Okay, so you kicked out. Everybody kicks out of everything now. I get it. But, you're going to need time to catch your breath. I'm not saying you got to lie there for a minute like Roman Reigns does or whatever, but I need to see some recovery. I don't need to see you on the top rope 8 seconds later. To your point, Chad.
This is, and I'll rag on these little bastards later too. This is Road Warrior and Balding Buck in their booking of matches. This is their type of stupid shit that they have done everywhere except for Ring of Honor, where they were told what to do, and New Japan, where they weren't featured past the second or third match on the card. Because it's shitty booking. You gotta sell. If you don't sell, who gives a shit what you do in the ring? It's last man to get a move, or last man to get their finisher at the 9-minute mark wins the match. That's what it basically is.
That's what it is. Yep. And we ragged, and everybody rags on WWE for it, and people are happy to leave WWE, and we can finally do things differently, and not everybody has to sell the same. Guys, we're criticizing AEW for the same thing now a little bit.
Yeah. Jake Roberts and Lance Archer are outside of, I don't know where, just talking trash on Moxley, saying they're going to come and destroy him. That match has now been set for not a pay-per-view, just the anniversary show. I want to say October 14th or something like that. We'll talk about it when it gets around to it. But, yeah, this match isn't going to be a pay-per-view match. I thought they'd pull it off at Full Gear. Clearly we're shifting gears after the Archer-Moxley match.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I thought it would have been on a pay-per-view, but maybe they got to be bringing somebody back, something back for Moxley. Don't know what it is. Haven't seen a lot, and I don't think it's going to be Cody.
No, not yet. Not yet. John got nothing. All right. Matt Hardy in the ring, and he comes out and tells everybody, hey, I'm all right. It was Matt Hardy. It wasn't the demented deletion, whoever Matt Hardy, the one that teleports from seat to seat or anything like that. It was Matt Hardy who says, hey, when I come back, I'll be all right. I'm going to be taking some time off. They showed his wife was in the arena kind of selling that, she was worried about him a little bit more. Her tweets are all over the place. But he does say when he comes back, he's shifting gears and he's going to go after, it's time for him to go after an AEW title. Why can I not say AEW today? Good Lord. I'm not even drinking. I know
they sometimes say they almost come close to saying AWA on the actual AEW shows.
So this was a nice promo. I think it was, Chad's shaking his head, but I think after the backlash of everything that happened on social media, saying the match should have been stopped, you guys are idiots, this is somebody's life, this was Matt coming to bat for the company and saying, hey, I'm fine.
This is a CYA promo for the company and nothing more. I don't care what he says, what the, Dr. Fauci or whatever the fuck the doctor is that was there that gave him a cleared thing. He was hurt. That match should have been stopped.
Agreed.
It should have been thrown out at that point. The only reason, and it's the one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in wrestling is, well, Matt Hardy if he lost, he had to leave AEW, so they had to bring him back out. No, they didn't. The match is thrown out. It's not that he can't continue. Throw the match out. That's what should have been done. And if they get fined by the state's athletic commission or something, which is looking into this, I hope they do get fined. Not that it's going to be, nothing more than pocket change for Tony Khan, but this was bullshit. Lost a little bit of respect for Matt coming out and doing it, but he's under contract, so he's doing what the boss says.
Man, that's tough. I was with you, Mark. I thought this was him being a stand-up guy and speaking from the heart. But, maybe Chad's got a point, too, that they pushed him out there. I would imagine somebody thought to have him out there. I don't know, but I don't think he said, hey, can I go out there and speak? I'm sure somebody wrote something and said, Matt Hardy will speak here. It's obviously not as scripted as WWE, so I think he maybe spoke from the heart a little bit. But maybe he was put up to it to kind of, calm everybody down and ease everybody's worry over him.
Yeah, I see both sides. I do. Next matchup is Orange Cassidy against Angelico. Cassidy wins, but this just, it's a storyliner as well. Santana and Ortiz come out, beat the snot out of him. Best friends come out, make the save. Best friends challenge for a street fight in the parking lot and get redemption for Sue's van to make Sue proud. Not your Sue, by the way, Chad.
No.
She doesn't like them.
She would have shot him if they'd have dicked with her car.
Right.
I'm glad this feud's not over. I'm enjoying best friends and Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah, I really am too. The next segment I really hate. The Young Bucks. Dave Marquez is backstage looking for the Young Bucks. He knocks on the door like a 6-month-old child knocking his bottle off the wall or off of the table or something. The knock on the door looked fake. It wasn't, and I hate using that word on a wrestling podcast, but it just looked like, I don't know. I really don't know. Finally, the door opens and Marquez gets super kicked into next Tuesday.
But he never, look at the replay, he never drops his mic.
I didn't notice that.
Never, and they show it a couple of times, when they come back and, the Young Bucks have been fined $5,000 each. He never dropped the mic. Well, if your super kicks are so fucking good, that guy should have been laid out right there. That mic should have gone flying. No, he had a death grip on that mic.
Nice.
It's a good catch. Yeah, that's bad. That's a bad detail.
Next up, man. Kip Sabian's out to announce who his best friend is. Puff the Magic Dragon comes out. He's not the best because he's on Twitch. Pillman Jr. comes out, and they don't even get along, but you're the best, man. Not the best man.
Right.
And then finally, Sabian announces who the best man is, and it's Miro. People are like, who the hell is Miro? It's Rusev. A blonde, head-shaven Rusev. And let me say, I'm happy that he's in AEW, but I'm disappointed that he's kind of at the bottom of the barrel with Kip Sabian. What the Christ is he doing?
With Kip Sabian, and did you see his outfit? He looked like fucking Kenny Omega dressed him out of a Goodwill shop. He had a My Pretty Pony pink shirt on. Fucking jogging pants that look like something from the first Rocky movie.
In loafers.
It's like, okay, didn't expect him to come out in a 3-piece suit or anything like that, but at least come out looking like you didn't just dress yourself out of your suitcase that you've been living in.
I don't know who had the worst splash coming to AEW in the last 2 weeks, if it was Matt Sydal or Rusev Miro now.
It has to be Sydal. He busted his ass.
I don't know.
At least Rusev just walked out there and looked stupid. Sydal looked like a fucking fish out of water flopping.
Rusev talked about WWE. He didn't say WWE, but he was someplace where they dangled the brass ring in front of him, the glass ceiling. It was that. It was just Rusev saying some stuff on WWE, and I don't know where this is going. I feel bad for him because he's in a shitty situation.
Well, to that point, I have 2 questions for you guys since you watched this. What I've read was he looked relieved, re-energized, rejuvenated, something to that effect. He looked like he was having fun.
He did.
Yeah, okay, I was going to ask you guys if you agree with that. The other thing is he didn't really get jobbed out of the WWE on his way out the door. Do you think then his exit storyline was his stupid divorce from Lana? Was that what they did to to get him out of the WWE since he was leaving, rather than the tried and true fashion of this guy's going to lose to everybody before he leaves.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
They didn't do a good job in burying him. He lost no face in that feud with, what the hell is his name? Bob. Yeah.
No.
Lashley. Yeah, he didn't lose any face in that feud. And if anything, he's got momentum leaving.
But you brought this up, and I wasn't going to because I actually thought about it. He went from one marriage angle to another marriage angle, so to speak. Is he going to be sleeping with Penelope Ford? Is that where this is going to go?
I hope not. I think it's a subtle knock on the competition, though. This guy's so good, and you put him in this stupid wedding angle. We're going to put him in a stupid wedding angle for a little bit, but then watch what we do with him, maybe.
See, I could see them doing something like that about him banging Penelope Ford and him and Kip Sabian, but it just wouldn't be a feud nobody would give a shit about. Absolutely zero.
Right.
Maybe the Young Bucks would, but they're fucking morons.
I'm going to link both of these together.
Hold on. You gotta watch Rusev after he gets done talking and watch the replay when he starts doing his, fist bumps and everything like that. They turned the volume down because they started chanting Rusev Day.
I did hear that.
He was laughing and smiling. To John's point, he looked happy, and he was doing the arm pump and everything, and they were chanting Rusev Day, and they had to turn the volume down on it. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Go ahead, Mark.
I'm going to link both of these together because they were both backstage interviews. One with Hangman and Tony. Hangman says it's all his fault that everything has happened and he started drinking again. So I think we're going to go back to the alcoholic Hangman. And then like 2 segments later, we get JR and Omega doing a backstage interview as well. And Omega pretty much continues saying, I'm a singles wrestler now. Hangman wants to get back together after everything has happened. Omega says, I'm done. So, one, I think they should have broken these up. Hangman this week, Omega next week, kind of as a response, but to have them 2 segments apart, I think that squashes all storylines of them, in my book. I want to see Hangman as a rough, tough cowboy. We can stop it was fun for the alcoholism one for a little bit. It was, cool. He hasn't had a drink in 37 seconds. Cool, whatever. They're broken up now. Let him be a rough, tough cowboy.
But they haven't. Okay, they lost the titles. Omega walked away. Omega's being his usual, funky dance finger, dumbass self. This is setting up where Paige is going to beat the ever-loving shit out of him and leave him in a pool of blood in one way or another. Either he's going to go down and Omega's like, no, we're not teaming anymore. Okay, thanks for the good times. And then he beats the shit out of him or he interferes in a match. I think that's where they're going with this.
I'm going to have to agree with Chad. While I would like to see Hangman Adam Page as like the rough and tough cowboy, it's Omega who left him in the ring. That was, kind of the twist. So maybe it is leaning in that direction. Maybe it is leaning toward. I still don't understand Hangman's motivation in all this, and it better be a really good payoff because they've been dangling this carrot in front of us for a long time. They gave us a twist where Omega leaves him in the ring, but I still don't know Paige's motivation in all of this for hanging out with FTR, for just not communicating with the rest of the, whatever the hell they were called, the Elite. I'm not sure where this is going. I'm still unclear. That's fine. I don't mind being unclear. It better be an awesome payoff, though, because they've been teasing this for a while.
This is the one that Chad's going to go off on. I know it. I knew it when it was happening, and this is why after this we'll pick up the pace a little bit. Jericho and Hager against Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. Already in a no disqualification match. All hell breaks loose. Jericho and Hager are top heels. Janela and Kiss are not. And it took 2 commercial breaks for this match to end. And I don't know. Jericho's now in the tag team division. Hager, my thoughts on Hager. I just don't think he's there. But he's a heel. He's a big heel. He's part of the inner circle. I just don't understand why this match lasted so god blessed long. And John, you didn't watch it. You criticized. I'm going to go with John first, Chad. Cool down a minute. You're red. You've criticized Sonny Kiss before. We came back and said, oh my God, he's done a little bit, that he's worked on some stuff. You didn't watch the match. Holy shit, did Sonny Kiss step back about 5 steps this match, because everything you hated the first time you saw him, multiply it by 2.
Jeez, so making it look like they say it ain't ballet. He kind of makes it look like a ballet. I'm sorry. Just, it almost looks like the steps are counted in his head, which I'm sure it's not easy, especially today's level where it's got to be bigger and better than 10 seconds ago. But yeah, he just makes it look like a dance routine. So you're saying it went back to that and then some?
Yeah. Chad, I want to put a time on this because we have WWE to talk about too before John's going to go pound some steel. Because I know you want to go off by 25 minutes, but
no, this was, I've seen less smelly shit in a porta potty at a concert than this match.
Wow.
This
great analogy.
That's great, Chad. Yeah, that would be good writing. That's creating the picture. Nice job.
This sucked. This match should not have gone on for more than a minute at best. All Sonny Kiss wanted to do is stick his ass out and in people's faces and highlight his ass and dance around like he's in Peter Pan, play on Hollywood or in Hollywood or something. Janela, seeing Jericho and Janela in the same ring was like they're both thick, pot gutted, and it looked like Jericho and his mini-me next to each other. Jericho should be ashamed for doing this shit. This was bad. This is a reason when we say people stick around for too long.
Are you saying Jericho's done?
I'm not saying Jericho's done, but when he does shit like this, he should be. Because he is killing everything that he did before and downgrading it, everything he did before. These guys, they should have beat the shit out of him. That sound of that bell should have been followed up by it ringing again and the match over.
It was way too long. You were nicer than I thought, so we'll just move on real quick. MJF in the back, he fires everybody that works with him, except Wardlow, of course. He kind of gets in Wardlow's face. Wardlow kind of gives it back to him. We find out that Wardlow's not contracted by AEW. He's contracted by MJF. MJF pays him, not Tony Khan. So Wardlow kind of had to take a step back, and he said, yes, sir. But it's that tease again. This is a slow burn storyline we have here between MJF and Wardlow. I don't want to say I want it yet, but how much longer do we get it?
I don't think it goes on too much longer. I think at some point you see Wardlow get an AEW contract. We don't see that. But I think there comes a point where MJF gets a little too mouthy, maybe a little handsy. You work for me, blah, blah, blah. Wardlow shows an AEW contract. So now I do work here and I don't have to work for you. And that's where things blow up between them.
I think this is going to go the angle that WWE went with when Randy Orton beat Benoit for the title and they were all like, give it to Triple H or whatever, and they dumped Orton. I think that's where this is going to go. I think Wardlow's going to get a shot at a title. MJF is going to tell him he has to give it to him or whatever, and Wardlow's like, yeah, you can fuck yourself on that one.
Next we have...
Very quickly, he fired Nina and Gum Guy too.
Yep. Everybody.
Wow. Everybody. Damn.
He even said Nina's smile was worthless or something like that.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, but Nina's out of a job, so maybe we can get her. She could be our publicist.
Okay, yeah.
No, yeah, marketing or something.
Yeah.
Next up, Moxley talks about Archer and he's going to beat his ass, whatever.
Where the fuck was Moxley at?
It looked like the Erie Seawolves bathrooms, honestly.
Okay, so that's where the people are talking about. It looked like he was
he looked like he was
outside the bathrooms, like he's a.
There was two concrete barriers. He was in the middle, and they separated, so it looked like he was legit outside of a bathroom somewhere. Erie Seawolves was the first one to pop into my head. It could have been the Altoona Curve, could have been the Washington Wild Things, it could have been any minor league ballpark. Moxley was just outside that. He might have been blocking the water fountain. That's the only. He was at a bathroom somewhere.
Okay.
Yep. FTR and Tully's in the ring. They're doing their celebration, and I thought this was going to be cool. They started knocking all the other tag teams, and then the Jurassic Express got involved. They scuffle, and then it makes FTR look like a bunch of wieners again by having the case of beer dumped on them. I thought it was going to be cool, and it ended up being like, man, can they have one night where they look badass? Their celebration should have been that night. Didn't happen.
Yeah. I obviously didn't see it, but I would tend to agree. Had a fight broken out, and they're the heels. They take their belts and run. All right, but having beer dumped on them is kind of, I don't know. Doesn't do them any favors.
I'm going to go back to the outlook on the Sunny Kiss Joey Janela thing. Get rid of that little annoying fucking ankle biter Marco Stunt. He's honestly got no reason to be in there. And FTR is interacting and doing stuff with him. Jungle Boy, yes, he looks like he's going to be a star. Luchasaurus, Dino, he's a big dude. Why this little bastard that if they dropped him and kicked him, they could probably put him over the neighbor's fence like a little chihuahua?
Jesus. All right. Taz is talking about Team Taz. Darby's music hits. It's Ricky Starks. I like Ricky Starks being Darby Allin than Darby Allin being Darby Allin. I've been a Ricky Starks fan since NWA. I can't wait for this match. I really can't wait for this match to happen. But I want to see what Ricky Starks does after this. This is his introduction to AEW. We've seen him in NWA. His first reincarnation of a TV champion. So I'm excited, but I want to see more from Ricky Starks. I love the guy. I really do.
Yeah, he's great. I agree. I can't wait to see that match. I hope we get it soon. And his impression is spot on. It's not just the face paint. He really embodies that character.
He has the look of a heel.
Oh, for sure.
Just if you didn't know him, seen him at WrestleCade or something like that, you'd be like, man, that guy could really be a dick heel. And he's so good at it.
I don't know if he is. He looks like a dick in real life, which sells it more. Ricky, if you listen to this, and I don't know you, you just portray yourself perfectly.
And they always say that a person's character, a wrestler's character, is an extension of themselves. The best ones are an extension.
Themselves to 11 is what they've all said on the spotlights, yeah.
And you look at anybody that's been, Shawn Michaels, an egomaniac. Well, that one proved to be a little true. Hogan, Flair, Steamboat. Look what they tried to do with Steamboat, turning them bad. Really?
Yeah. Next up, Nyla beats the shit out of Ty Conte, and Cheetah comes out to make the save. It's setting up for that match again. We don't have to touch on that. They announced that it is October 14th, Archer against Mox at the anniversary show, and now finally we're at the main event. It's Brody Lee against Dustin for the TNT Championship. This angle's going forever. What I have to say about this is they made an announcement that there's news on Cody coming up during this match or after this match or whatever. All right, cool. They're going to say, he's cracked ribs, broken skull, breathing treatments, whatever. Cool. Continue the storyline. Cody's out for a while. Brody Lee gets the win, keeps the title. They beat up QT, whatever. What I'm going to bitch about is, after the show's over, Cody appears on TV to promote the Go Big show. It's America's Got Talent on steroids. I'll put it that way. That they're going to monster trucks running you over. You're eating the monster truck. People are putting forks in their eyes. Just random shit. And Cody's promoting it like this whole storyline meant nothing. Was this recorded ahead of time?
Come on now, it was recorded ahead of time.
Probably.
Cody's
do we do this now? Do we do this now? Do we make him the face of this now when he's supposed to be on his deathbed?
That's a bad idea. I don't care when it was recorded. It doesn't matter. It ruins a storyline. That's disappointing. For a company that's trying to rebuild wrestling and promote, wrestling matches and storylines, that's disappointing. That totally destroyed the fourth wall for me. I don't care when that was recorded.
See, I was joking about the recorded.
Right.
This was shitty timing to have shown this. Okay, if they had the Brody Lee segment at the beginning or whatever, or middle of the show, the timing was bad. Show Cody, do the angle like they did when Stan Hansen broke Bruno Sammartino's neck and they had Bruno in the hospital and fucking traction and hospital gown and all the machine. Do that kind of stuff. Yeah. Don't show this shit because you're making yourself.
When's this show? If this show is only coming out in like January, okay? Let's say that's when the new shows come out or whatever. This show's going to come out in January. Sure as shit that Cody is going to be back by then. You couldn't have one of the other. If you want to announce it, cool. This is where you announce it on wrestling show. The shit that's going to happen on that show is perfect to follow up after AEW. I agree with that. But say, hey, look what's coming up in January. Don't show Cody in any of your clips. Guys, there's editing. We edit here on the podcast. I help my son make videos for YouTube. You can take Cody out of every shot. In a month when Cody comes back, and then you want to do the big shtick of Cody being part of it, fine and dandy. Look what the WWE's doing with The Miz on their water show or whatever the hell is going on. Yeah, they publicized that for a while, and then, oh my God, guess what? The Miz is the host. Then he runs with it or whatever.
But he wasn't in an angle where he's
dead.
Dead.
Yep.
Yeah, shitty timing. They should have used somebody else. Cody being the quote-unquote face of the franchise. They could have used Jericho or MJF. I think, personally, MJF would have been fucking perfect.
Yeah.
To do
His
this.
wife's a great spokesperson for the company. Brandy, she's a great speaker, and she makes sense.
Yeah. So, all in all, I don't know what Bleacher Report was thinking, but it was middle of the line or below AEW show for us. But let's switch over to stuff that's continuing to be trash. We'll put the 5 minutes on it because that's all it's worth again, guys. WWE in a nutshell. Raw, Cedric turns on his boys, joins the Hurt Business. Peyton Royce and Billy Kay have a match. They hug afterwards. Peyton Royce is going to get a push. The whole Mysterio family, I'm just going to touch on stuff. You guys can touch on whatever you want. The whole Mysterio family beat the shit out of Murphy with kendo sticks. It's okay to have dad and son do it. Now the daughter and the mother's part of it as well. Too fucking much. Lana doesn't need to be on TV at all. More Hurt Business with the VIP. Randy and Keith ends up just for a Claymore. I hate the Underground. And Dominic and Murphy, ended the show. So that's Raw. Nothing. Guys, let me say this real quick. Raw continues to suck because tell me who is the face of Raw, who is over on Raw. One person that you're like, I need to watch Raw because... Exactly. Crickets.
Well, Randy Orton and Keith Lee. That's on Raw, right?
Yeah.
Is that on Raw? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. That's pretty good. Randy Orton has a lot of years in that company. That's not a fresh face anymore.
Right. He's over. Yes, he's over, but
yeah,
he's not the one that I'm turning. I like what he does. I've always been somewhat of a fan of Randy Orton. I like that he's snake-like. I'm not turning in to see Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Or tuning in.
I agree.
There's nothing. There's nobody that has that type of pull.
No. That's why Raw has been tanked.
Wait till you see the Raw ratings, and I know there's a lot of shit going around about football and everything like that. With football making its return to Monday nights, wait till you see how far the Raw ratings drops. Which, bring up AEW, this week's show went over 1 million viewers for the first time.
Wow.
I want to mention one thing on Raw that stood out to me. You mentioned Sheldon Benjamin and who was it that turned?
Cedric Alexander.
Cedric, thank you. That's about the only thing that stood out to me that is remotely intriguing. Like, I wonder where this is going. Cedric turned, and Sheldon Benjamin doesn't trust him. It still looks overacted and contrived and overwritten, and they can't just let these guys be themselves. There wasn't a natural moment between those two guys. It was, to quote Ole Anderson, the shits. However, it's a bit of an intriguing story. Like, I wonder why Sheldon doesn't trust this guy. I wonder if Cedric Alexander actually is fully committed to the Hurt Business, or if he's got his own agenda. That's not what I'm asking you guys. What I'm asking you guys is how long before Vince and company forget they ever wrote this, and next week they're doing something completely different.
Next week.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. 2 weeks.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
They'll be advertising the huge end-all feuds grudge match between Cedric Alexander and
Shelton Benjamin.
Apollo Crews with Shelton Benjamin as the guest referee or something.
Yeah.
If they do that this week, I'm suing them for taking my ideas.
It'll be ripped up by 7:55 on Monday and rewritten. The whole show is rewritten by 7:56. If you keep reading it, Raw's ripped up every week and written again on the spot. And you can tell. SmackDown. Running through this. Roman comes out, talks about he's going to face his cousin. Then Corbin and Sheamus come out. It sets up a tag team match for later. Hardy versus AJ for the IC title. Doesn't happen theoretically because Sammy comes out and gets involved. I'm telling you, we're going to get that triple threat ladder match at whatever Clash of Champions, Golden Circle or Golden whatever, I don't know. Cesaro and Shinzen, they're going to face the Street Profits on Raw in your face because we can have brand interaction again. So, guys, I've read that they're unifying the tag team titles. And I think it's about fucking time.
Absolutely.
There's 3 tag teams. 3. If name New Day's not around, Shinsuke and Cesaro are singles wrestlers. The Street Profits are a tag team. Heavy Machinery is, but Otis has the goddamn lunch back.
The Usos are split.
And Lucha House Party. Everybody else is either the Freebird rule. That's it. Yeah. Or two singles guys.
Yeah, they had the Usos and the New Day, which are two of the best teams across any brand anywhere. And they split them up, which I understand. You can't just keep giving us Usos and New Day. But, yeah, who the hell do they have that's a believable team that they need 2 sets of tag team champions?
It's shit again. The tag teams. This is Vince's way of burying something that he never liked before, as it is, and it's just getting worse and worse. I was actually semi excited to see Sami Zayn come back in the "fuck you, I never lost my title" type thing. That was the only thing I took out of this show that was good. Other than I get to rag on my dearly beloved because Paul Heyman is Roman Reigns' manager. And she fucking hates Paul Heyman. If he would disappear off the face of the earth, she would be happy. But every day I have Vinny. I was like, hey, Vinny, go ask Mom who's managing Roman Reigns.
You're a dick.
I can be outside. Chad, you bastard!
Bayley admits that her and Sasha were never friends. They both had the same agenda to get one up on each other, and Sasha's now completely useless. Bayley has to fight somebody at Clash of Champions, so they have a fatal 4-way between Cross, Bliss, Lacey, and Tamina. Bliss pretty much leaves to go find Bray. Cross gets taken out. She lays outside for a good part of the match. So essentially you have Lacey Evans against Tamina, which is rough to watch. Cross wakes up and gets the pin, and she'll be facing Bayley. We've seen this already.
Time.
There's a new blonde coming to... This is intriguing. I want to know who the hell the new blonde is.
Told you who it is.
You think it's Chelsea Green?
It's Chelsea Green. You cannot mistake that posterior end and legs.
I knew it.
For anybody else.
Okay.
There's nobody.
I just, as far as Sasha and Bayley go, I think it has the potential to be a good storyline. Mark, you just reminding me, she said we were never friends. I have a problem with that. That happens too often. So if she's saying we were never friends, I want to hear a rebuttal from Sasha, because going into the Wayback Machine, Bob Orton says, Roddy and I were never friends. He used me. And then next week, Roddy's like, we were never friends? I mean, don't you remember how we met and you were drinking too much and I got you to stop drinking and I set you up on a date with lovely Lucy? I remember all of it. Why? Because it was two conflicting viewpoints. Roddy's heart was a little broken, but he's like, fine, you want to fight? We'll fight. I need to see that. I'm tired of the we were never friends thing. You could be friends and still want to compete or hate each other now, but I hope we get something a little heartfelt from Sasha Banks where she says, you know what, I thought we were friends, and I'm sorry you feel that way. Show me some vulnerability. It will make for a better story.
And just wrapping this all up real quick, Roman and Uso win. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to be leaving you guys here shortly. So, do you guys have anything to end your part of the show? As Soup and I will wrap up this show with the recap of Super Indy, and then I will end the show. But
you were texting me some of the highlights, and it sounds like it was an awesome show. I can't wait to hear about it. I subscribed to the network last night, but I think they were on to me because you have to subscribe for longer than a month to get the pay-per-view happening at that moment. So an asshole like me doesn't subscribe for $9.99, watch the show, and then cancel. Not that I was going to do that, or maybe I was. You never know. But that's a smart business move. So the way it works is you have to buy it for $15.99 or $14.99, or you have to get longer than a month's membership to watch that night's pay-per-view, so that you don't just watch it for $5 less and then never watch anything else. So I missed out on that, but I am subscribed, so I'm looking forward to maybe going back at some point and watching what I missed last night. But what you described, it sounded pretty darn good, Mark.
New Japan holding the G1 Climax tournament, announced their brackets. We're going to have wrestlers from U.S. traveling over there.
See how that goes.
Keep in mind, Moxley still has the U.S. title version over there. Ring of Honor announced the brackets for the Pure Championship.
Nick Lendl's all about that. That's where I saw it from.
Yep, so we're getting some more stuff in, might cost you a little bit to get their various networks and that, but pay a little bit to get something new.
And stay home safe and watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
And last but not least, you fat bastard, cowboy bastard, I'm not giving away results. It's been 2 weeks, you're still ducking me. Jock Sampson, I still want a match with you. You Stan Hansen frickin' roly-poly wannabe.
Yeah, and it would be a hell of a match, as you'll find out results here from Super Indy. So, to the English professor and the glorious Guru, guys, it's been great. Soups, give us a call, so we'll catch you two next week. Love you.
See ya.
This is the heir apparent Chris LaRusso, and you're listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to Can Crushers, returning after maybe a month or two. Nonetheless, here to talk about Super Indy is Soup IRS Geist. Man, how are you doing? Did you get enough sleep last night?
Good enough. Good enough to be able to do this show with you. How are you doing today?
I'll tell you, I sat on Interstate 80 on the way home for half an hour and 45 minutes after an accident. I was furious last night. I only got home at like 2:30. I was perturbed.
Well, you told Kelly, worst comes to worst, after 2. So, that happened. You got jinxed, I guess.
I did it to myself. I really did it to myself.
But, hey, you're home safe. We had a good night of wrestling, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. And, what a night of wrestling. What a night of wrestling. Not too much funny stuff, just pure wrestling from IWC.
Yeah, Super Indy. It's got a long history of being a great tournament here in the Pittsburgh area, and the 8 competitors last night didn't disappoint.
Yeah, no doubt. And we just had Chris LaRusso brought us back for some reason. Do you have an idea why?
He was great on the pre-show yesterday, him and Joe Dombrowski, of course, and we were lucky enough. We got to see his face a few times throughout the night last night, and I think some of his buddies must have probably had a good night, unlike us, or unlike you, but it was a good night.
It was. So let's dive right into this, and it will give us our rankings as we normally do. Patch comes out and surrenders. As always, Super Indy, rules and regulations say, hey, when it's tournament time, the champ's got to surrender the title to Plummer. And if Patch wins it, there's no break in his title. But if he loses any time during the night, it's vacant.
Yeah, just like every year, he had to give it up. He had it for a good year, if not a little longer. In my opinion, if you're no stranger to the Can Crusher podcast, I'm a big fan of Johnny Patch. So great reign, great competitor, getting better as the years he's in the business go on. And what a way to start it, though.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't even know you had that Johnny Patch shirt. That's one of his firsts or something. That was a cool shirt you had on last night. We are Johnny Patch fans. As much as we dig on him sometimes, he's a hell of a wrestler.
Yeah, as soon as he came out with some merch, I messaged him on social media and I said, "Yo, save me an extra large put it to the side. I'll hit you up at intermission at one of the past shows, and I had to get one. I had to.
So the night starts off with Zach Nystrom. We've been calling him the sure shot, but now he's going to be called the big fundamental, taking on Lee Moriarty. Soup, this match set the tone for the night.
Definitely set the tone for the night. Two great competitors. Nystrom, a young up-and-coming guy, and hanging out with McChesney. Looks like he's got the fundamentals down. And just Lee Moriarty was a little too much for him, a little more experienced, and Moriarty was able to get a big first-round win to start the night off, even with Mandime getting in some shenanigans.
I was just going to say, it seems like Mandime actually cost Nystrom the win, getting involved. Wasn't DQ or anything, just kind of got the big fundamental out of position, and Moriarty, bing, bang, boom, 1, 2, 3. We'll see more of everybody later, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But a good win for Moriarty with a roll-up and moving on to the second round.
Guys, if you don't know who Lee Moriarty is, man, he is I'm going to do my air quotes again, probably like for the fourth time this show, Soup. He's a talent to watch. He's been on Impact. He's going to be on Impact. He's lingering around there. So, man, this kid, and he's so humble. I've spoken with him, trying to get him on the show, but I've spoken with him at some Rise events and everything. He just pays homage to who he's in the ring with each and every time.
Oh, definitely. You could see, he would give the bow after each match in the middle of the ring, shake hands. He was a good sportsman here in this tournament last night. So, overall, yeah, he's up and coming. I've seen him a handful of times. I remember the first time I saw him was at a Reloaded, the reset button here in IWC. So, I'd like to see him more. He's good in the ring.
He is. Next matchup is Ace Austin. We've seen him in the Pittsburgh area a few times, and he's going to be taking on Josh Alexander. And Josh is filling in for an injured Atticus Cogar. Atticus still sitting on that reset button that he got in January. Man, do I love me some Josh Alexander. We've seen him several times now in the Super Indy. He's been the IWC Tag Team Champion. He is just a worker's worker. I can't say enough about this guy. I thoroughly love him. And yes, he's on Impact, but I'd love to see him on AEW. I think him and Wardlow, we've seen the match, him and the Dinosaur Dude. I think there's just so much for him in AEW.
Oh, for sure. Alexander is a great competitor. As disappointing as it was to see Cogar go out and not be able to compete in this great tournament, what a guy to replace him. You said it yourself, Plummer probably called him 3 hours before the show started, and Alexander just stepping up, knows how big this tournament is. He's been in the finals in the past a few times, so he had no issue showing up a little late and as a surprise. But a great worker. Like you said, we've seen him with Wardlow. We've seen him in the tag team division running stuff. I feel like he could be somebody good. Impact's on TV, but he could be a good star on TV also with his in-ring work.
Huge spot from Ace Austin. Not giving him enough credit. Austin dove off of the dugout onto Alexander, which was like 3 or 4 feet behind the dugout fence. We talked about Ace Austin in depth last night about how he reminds me of Pac or Neville or, just doesn't fly as much. I think Ace Austin, again, another Impact star that could just blossom somewhere else. And it's no knock on Impact. I just think they're just on the wrong channel, which everybody in the world does not get.
Oh, yeah, Impact, they're doing some good stuff with some of the acquisitions they got. And he's been around there for a while, though, Ace Austin. And like you said, we've seen him here in IWC before. And, yeah, he's also great in the ring. You give him the right kind of character, storyline, he could blossom for sure. He does have a good look to him.
Alexander gets a win with his... I'm laughing because I remember something you said that I'll bring up later in the 8-man match with his ankle lock.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, you probably know where I'm going. But yeah, next up is Facade taking on Brian Pillman Jr. This is a good match. We knock Facade sometimes because we've seen him a lot, and sometimes he goes a little too crazy. He wasn't the super high-flying Neon Ninja that we've seen, so he was a little grounded, no death-defying moves or anything. But this was a good first match for Pillman, and I've pretty much ruined that already for you, but it was a good first match for Pillman to get his legs underneath him here in IWC.
Definitely, good first round win. Pillman picks up the victory over a veteran in Facade who's been a part of IWC even before I started getting into it. So, I've seen him a handful of times. He's, like I said, good worker, good guy. But Pillman was the story here, moving on to the second round. And he was, going into this tournament, one of the favorites at the top, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was. We saw him earlier in the year at Reloaded, and a storyline kind of got squashed with COVID, and we'll leave it at that. But Pillman, might be in IWC for a while. Next matchup is Sam Adonis taking on your current, well, I guess not current anymore since he handed it over, but Johnny Patch. And I was excited to see this. I've seen Adonis work a lot. Patch is Patch. We talked as he just continues to blow up the indie scene.
Definitely. Great match between a veteran and, Patch. He had this year-long title run, but he's still fresh, fresh in everybody's mind, a new guy. But you're right, a great match. Surprisingly, both guys were high-flying. You see that out of Patch all the time. But even Adonis was able to answer some Patch's high-flying moves with his own. And little do we know, with a 450 splash, Sam Adonis gets is it an upset? The upset victory over the former champion? Being a veteran more than Patch, would you call it an upset?
I don't think I can call it an upset with the resume that Sam Adonis has. I can't. But if I was going into this, and no knock on Sam, because I want to corral him for the show, but with Patch being the current champion that just surrendered it, you think he's got a little bit of a leg up on everything. This match could have gone either way. And I know that's stupid to say it like that, playing the PC, but yeah, this is probably one of my favorite matches. I think the match of the night is coming up, but I think this was one of my favorite matches because it started with the reversals, and you said, I never thought Sam Adonis was going to do a 450 or as much high flying as he was. This was fun. This was a fun, good match that I wouldn't mind seeing 6 or 7 more times.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'll watch that again. The more I see Sam Adonis, the more I keep getting impressed with him. And big question here, though, where do you see Patch going now? Does he head towards the heavyweight title picture? Does he rekindle a feud with Mandime? It'll be interesting to see where he goes. I'm not saying he's a loner, but you don't see him hanging out with Hooven, or you don't see, he doesn't maybe get thrown in a tag team hunt with, hey, throw him and Neon Ninja together. They're both high flyers. We'll see what happens there. 2020 has been a crazy-ass year, so who knows what's going to go forward, right? Right, I hear that. That's for sure. But good first overall round, that's for sure. All 8 guys brought it, and very impressive.
And no funny business. I like that there was not any funny business in that first round. Nobody needed to be a dickbag to win or anything. They just wrestled.
Right, yeah. This is a prestigious tournament for wrestling, and that's what these 8 guys brought, was good pro wrestling.
Next up on the docket is the Women's Championship. You see Raylyn coming out with Calvin, and we'll talk about Calvin, taking on Danny Moe. Always talk about Calvin. Coming out and taking on Danny Moe, and this is the first time I've ever seen Danny Moe in the ring. I don't know. I mean, she's got, no disrespect, she got potential. She, afterwards, her and Raylyn were kind of already taking pictures. If you follow Raylyn on social media, I love her, but all of a sudden she's like, this is going to be my new tag team partner. Raylyn, at least give it the night. At least give it the night before you become best friends with your opponent.
I know Webster's Dictionary just put the word jabroni in the dictionary. I think Raylyn's going to have to go double check and see if the word kayfabe's in there as well. But good match. Good match. Raylyn keeps her reign going. That's been over a year now as the IWC Women's Champion. And like you said, yeah, this is the first time I've seen Danny Moe in a match. I've seen her in action as like a valet manager type role for Facade. Tough night for the Facade family, though, 0-2 for the night. But like you said, she has the look. She had the basics down, and I don't know how long she's been working in the business, but like you said, she's got potential to be something good.
So let's talk about the look. Man. Velvet pants, gold jacket. He had a gold bat. Calvin representing Gucci Couture, or whatever you want to call the brand that he's got. God, he looked great last night.
Looked amazing, as always. I don't know if I could pull Velvet off. I don't think you could pull Velvet off.
Not at all.
If there's a man that could, it was Calvin. And just still on top. Him and Raylyn running that division. And who's going to take him off the mountaintop?
Got to talk about the match a little bit. Danny Moe could have gotten the win, but Calvin was making sure to tell Potter, hey, you have to watch the forecast. The forecast could change. It was sprinkling a little bit in Washington at the Wild Thing Stadium. So he was talking to Potter, and Potter sometimes can't hear, so Calvin kind of grabbed him a little bit to tell him more in his ear. Danny got a little upset and kind of was like, hey, Potter, get your head out of your ass. And then Raylyn took advantage and kicked her in the face, and 1, 2, 3. So that's on Danny. It was just the weather forecast.
Yeah, like we said, we haven't seen her in the ring too much. That could easily be, a green mistake there. But Calvin looking out for the girls, talking about the forecast. But Potter, over a couple bumps he's taken over the years, that right ear, I believe, is a little hard hearing. So I understand why Calvin was just trying to make sure, hey, listen here. But overall, good match.
And how about Raylyn's kind of new persona that she's, I don't know if you want to call her Raidlow or Warlin or something, but she's all day long. I love it from Raylyn. I freaking lost my shit.
Yeah, I was ready to call her Ray Swole because, she was, flexing and all. She's looking pretty jacked.
Yeah.
So she wants to keep that reign going as IWC Women's Champion.
Right. Good. On to round 2, and Soup, this is my match of the night. Lee Moriarty against Josh Alexander. We can't do the justice of describing the match. So we'll talk about it, but head over to the IWC Network, get it for $9.99 a month, and watch this over and over. Josh Alexander held Lee Moriarty up for 45, 50 seconds for a suplex. And
yeah, good stalling suplex.
Overall, though.
Yeah, it was great. I'm with you. This was match of the night. I don't know if it has anything. You mentioned, Alexander, a former Impact Tag Champion. Moriarty's now getting into the Impact scene. Don't know if they've ever worked each other before, but this is 2 straight years that Alexander, any match that he has is great, whether he's with Ethan Page against the Locked and Loaded main event, whether he's against Wardlow, whether he's against Jonathan Gresham. You put Alexander in the ring and you're going to get some gold, and especially when Moriarty's a good dance partner. Moriarty gets the big win, escaped a couple ankle locks, unlike Ace Austin was able to, and Moriarty was the first one going to the finals.
Yeah, he gets the win with an octopus spin, or I don't know what the hell he called it.
It was similar to the roll-up he had on Nydstrom. Pretty similar.
Yeah.
I forget how it went. It's like they were working the ankle, and he was able to just roll through, hooked an arm Alexander, and it's kind of like a crucifix pin. But way to be aware of his surroundings. And Moriarty, just I can't say it enough. Good win.
Yeah, and he's taken some punishment so far in these two matches, Moriarty, and we'll talk about that when we get to the finals as he's in it now. Second match of round number 2 is Pillman Jr. against Adonis, and I said it right off the bat. If I'm going to nitpick, they both kind of came out to the same song, and I was like, wait, that's AC/DC, is it AC/DC? They both had the dun, dun, dun kind of song, and I'm like, oh, which one's coming out first? And I think maybe they might have messed up that one shouldn't have come out first and the other one, and good call on Wendell to find out who the hell was coming out.
Yeah, you said it, similar songs, but once they were able to get in the ring, they also put on another good show. Adonis, another, we said earlier he was a veteran, but just Flying Brian Jr. was ready to go, and he's moving on to the finals as well. Just like I said earlier, he seemed like the favorite, and he proved it here. But great showing out of Adonis. Takes out the old champ, so hopefully we get to see him again over the next couple months.
Yeah, I hope we do see Adonis lingering around IWC for a little bit, and he maybe he challenges a heavyweight champion, or maybe he gets a tag partner, or at least just make some noise in IWC and kind of keeps it home instead of traveling for a little bit, because he's loved. He really is loved in IWC, especially with the guys with the flags that were driving everybody nuts, along with the concession stand workers.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, he's well known for his work in Mexico, the whole Trump supporter gimmick he's got down there, got him nationally known. And it would be nice to see, we all know who his brother is. It'd be nice to see him get a little bit of love here in the States now.
Yeah. The ending of this match, Soup, we can't dance around it, was kind of a little bit wonky. There was a couple reversals in a row, and then they were going for something off the ropes, and then Pillman Jr. kind of backed into Adonis, and Adonis just stayed down, and Pillman Jr. kind of just backed up and pinned him with his shins. I didn't... Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little messy, but when you're going for something this prestigious, your emotions could get to you, but all in all, two guys did a good job. I was still feeling it. It was nice.
All right. Next matchup is another, give the guys in the tournament a little bit of a break. It's an 8-man all-star showcase. And before we get to who's in it, holy mother of all God, Dime Piece is wearing a dress, and woo!
I'm speechless. Looking great. I don't know if she didn't hear me. Again, I heard her, last week on the podcast 2 weeks ago, what it was. She had some little mean things to say to me, so I wasn't trying to go overboard. Of course, the girlfriend yelled at me for all the talk to the Dime Piece, so I want to go and take my stage here to advantage. I want to apologize. Yes, Azure, I'm apologizing. Yes, Dime Piece, I'm sorry. You're just a good-looking girl. You do not have to call me that. Yes, Azure. Yes. I'm being good. I'm sorry.
Wow. She actually texted me earlier today to make sure that you got that in, Soup. That you really had to come clean.
I'm just going to end it there. She looked great.
She looks fabulous. Megan Nelson was there hooping and hollering for the Dime Piece, as always. And then before we get to the match, Megan Nelson hanging out with Mark Madden all night, drinking and rubbing elbows with him.
The super genius. If you're from around Pittsburgh, or if you're a former WCW Nitro fan, you all know who Mark Madden is. And shout out to Megan. That's some high class hanging out with.
Yeah, after the event that we ran into Megan and we kind of said hi to her, and we always keep an eye on Megan because sometimes she causes some disturbances in the crowd. But Mark Madden legit said, hey, I'll see you in the car. I don't know if they were going to Five Guys or Permane Brothers or someplace, but Megan kind of pretty much blew us off then and said, hey, well, I got to go with Mark.
Yeah, I think they're going to the Carriage Inn or something, somewhere. But
I don't know if the carriage is open, but okay.
She said, I know what Mark I want to hang out with.
Yeah, and not me. Not me. I'm bummed. But, all right, so the 8-man showcase, it's Angelic, Mambo Italiano, which still needs to bring back his original music, Jock Sampson,
Definitely.
and then Mandime. But Jock decides he's got court orders or something that he doesn't need to be part of this match, so he's out. He's out.
Yeah, his lawyer and former regulator teammate, David Lawless, they had a paper, I believe they said from the Washington County judge, saying that Jock did not have to compete tonight and that they can close IWC down with all this craziness going on in the world. And but they took the advantage that, hey, we're not going to do that. Just Jock's going to take it off, and they're going to have, I believe it was Don Murphy, the new deputy in the regulators, took Jock's place.
Yeah. And they're going to face Collier, Slade, Palace, and A1. And George Ross, this new referee that we haven't seen much of, loses control within 37 and a half seconds because this match was all over the place.
Oh, definitely. A lot of bad blood here. We've seen Palace and Collier team up before. Regulators are always getting in the middle of stuff. You got Mandime and Julia. I forgot. Not going to. Julia. God. Anyways, we saw, just bad blood between the heels and the faces, of course. And, yeah, the new ref. I loved his referee mask. I'll give him a shout out for that. But yeah, he lost control when you got 8 guys in there. But able to simmer things down. Everybody looked good. Dime did his thing. Mambo looking great. And but the new Officer Murphy, he took a shot early in the match, and he was down for a good 25 minutes, I want to say.
Yeah.
I think the match was only 12 minutes long.
I was just going to say it might have been a 17-minute match, and he was out for 25 minutes. But that's big,
right?
That's big time's boot in your face. I would be still out.
Yeah, I think I'd be laying on home plate still the next morning. So, but yeah, for sure. But overall, the faces get the win. Good teamwork by Palace, A1, Slade, and Collier. And the heels just move on to next week.
And at the end of the match, I'm not sure how many people saw it. I don't know if Jeremy from 2-to-1 Media, shout out to them, guys are great. If you need anything done video-wise, editing-wise, or anything like that, make sure you head over to 2-to-1 Media. They've helped us out with countless amount of things. And I hope Jeremy got this with the drone, that Collier and Palace and A1 were in the ring, and they were celebrating. Spencer took off his headgear and kind of looked back at Palace and just kind of like waved him off and didn't take the ride from the side-by-side back with the winners and walked back himself, kind of disgusted a little bit. Are we seeing something from Slade here?
Yeah, who knows what that was all about except for Slade, but we've seen him get betrayed in the past by Zach Nydstrom, now in Team Big League. Does he have trust issues maybe? Palace got the W, and I heard him yelling, when does he get his title shot? So does Slade take that as like a little spite that maybe he wants to be the one getting the title shot now? And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. But like you said, shout out to Jeremy, 2-to-1 Media. He was up in the press box, running things, but then at the same time, you'd see him walk down onto the field for the cameramen, give him water, make sure his guys are good. So they're a great company, but yeah, great job for 2-to-1 Media also.
And I snickered about this earlier, and you brought it up, so I'll throw you under the bus. So apparently if you wear headgear in the ring, you also have to do a ankle lock, because Alexander does, Kurt Angle did, Spencer Slade does. Who else has worn headgear? And you have to do an ankle lock, right? That's part of being headgear gear, guys.
Yeah, ankle lock, suplexes. It's that style. And but yeah, we saw Alexander bust out great matches. And Slade, like we said, he's got a mean streak to him as well, two good performers. So maybe it's the wrestling background, amateur wrestling. But yeah, I did say that last night. And we saw the ankle lock work a couple times last night for Alexander, but not Slade.
Yeah. Next matchup is the heavyweight championship match, and we get Chuck Roberts, old IWC owner, come in to do the announcing, and it's going to be Jimmy Vegas against Jack Pollock. He announces it, and let me tell you, Wendell, you better hope Chucky Boy doesn't stay around IWC too long, because hot damn, he was good last night.
Yeah, very good. Made it a big fight feel with his introductions. You got the hardcore icon, Jack Pollock, looking to regain his title that he lost. And you got one of the founding fathers of IWC, Jimmy Vegas. Two icons in this business for this company. And like you said, he made it a big fight feel and just made it feel bigger than it was, almost.
Coming out with Vegas was Super Hentai, Bubba the Bulldog, Dennis Gregory, and Bulk Nasty. And right before the match started, the regulators make their way out. And guess what? In that same contract, Jock Sampson says, screw it. I now want to wrestle. Could be shut down. Wrestling could be shut down. Then we don't get a championship match, and we don't get the finals of the Super Indy. So Vegas invites him in to say, hey, this is going to be now a triple threat elimination match. And everybody says, okay, and holy shit, this was all over the infield.
Oh, yeah, we said it sitting there. We're like, who do you think's going to be the one to come up in the crowd first and want to fight with the fans? And without a doubt, Jack Pollock would be all about that. But ballsy move, though, by Jimmy Vegas. He's a veteran. He's, not going to lie here. He's not getting any younger. So he's been around and he's not afraid of anything. So he said, yeah, you fat piece of, Chad, he'll tell you about Jock. Told him, get him in the ring. And he was ready to defend it against two.
And Vegas ends up being first one out, which, all right, let's pull the covers back. I think that's the right thing to do. Vegas, has talked about retirement and everything for a while. Vegas takes the first loss. Jock and Jack are both in the ring, kind of recovering. Vegas gets a nice little round of applause, and somebody guns a beer to Vegas, and he walks out with his homeboys. And Jimmy, the Can Crushers love you. We're always here. You want to come on? I want to get some stuff set up that we can talk more, this, that, and the other. Love your career, man. I've loved your career. I like the post that you put this morning. It's not goodbye. It's so long for now. So get your shit right, and then come back, and we'll talk again.
Oh, definitely. He's been around forever for IWC. I've only been coming the last few years, but what I've seen from him, always enjoyed. He was always there for the fans and his family. And that's the kind of performer you want to see go out happy and healthy. So shout out to him, able to give one more good run on top. And unfortunately, COVID might have ruined what it could have been. But at the same time, still great, still good guy. And best of luck to him in the future.
And then all hell breaks loose. All mother trucking hell breaks loose. Regulators are back, and they just beat the snot out of Pollock. And Pollock at one point has everybody kind of corralled until a blue shirt comes sprinting up over a dugout, kind of jumps the fence, steals a chair, and then Chris LaRusso just makes his way in and pummels the living Christ out of Jack Pollock.
Yeah, earlier in the night when the regulators came out, LaRusso wasn't around. You knew he was in the building from being on the pre-show earlier, so the connection was, I wonder what's going on there. But he made it known that he's regulator since day one, comes out, helps his boy Jock, beat the hell out of Jack, and now we have a new IWC World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, and who the hell knows where this is going to go from here. It's announced. Of course, next week is feature presentation in Brownsville Drive-In. You're going to get some of the tag team title match. You're going to get pretty much a brawl from the Gambinos. You're going to get like a feature focus on some of the younger talent, so on and so forth. It's going to be another great event. Head to Brownsville for that. Again, breaking kayfabe, me and you will be celebrating Ethan's 14th birthday party at Roadhouse. So John and Sylvan will cover that one for us. But they did announce IWC's biggest show of the year, Winner Takes All, will be back in Washington on October 10th. Soup, that might bring snow.
It might. It may. I'm excited, though. Wrestling's wrestling.
I agree.
I'm ready.
Yep.
Any kind of wrestling. It can be snowing, raining, sleeting, lava floors. I don't care. If there's wrestling, I want
Holy shit, lava floors. That would be an amazing match.
Yeah. It's better than Inferno, even, I think.
It's hotter. Yeah, an Inferno you can put out. I don't know if you can put lava out.
Yeah, true. But overall, yeah, we got the event next weekend, which should be good. Then we got Winner Take All. So IWC doing their thing as much as they can before 2020 is over. What a crazy year it's been. Why not try to get some good, crazy shows in?
And now we have the Super Indy final. Lee Moriarty taking on Brian Pillman Jr. And I don't know what happened to Pillman in the half an hour, 45 minutes, but all he talked about was killing and execution and killing and murdering and everything to Moriarty. He did gun motions. He said he's got a broken neck. What the hell happened to Pillman?
Well, we know from his father was a loose cannon. We've seen him with the gun against Austin in the house. So it might be hereditary. But like I keep saying, this is a prestigious tournament, prestigious title, the names that have been in it, the names that have won it. Pillman knows that he's here. This is the finals. And he saw, he's no idiot. He was watching Moriarty, who had a great night as well. And when you want something, I guess he just dug down deep enough and he went out and got it. And we got a new Super Indy champion in Brian Pillman Jr. And this was also another great match. Both guys in their third match of the night. Definitely going to have to say that Moriarty had a tougher path to the final, especially having to deal with Josh Alexander. That they don't call him the walking weapon for no reason. And I think in the end that might have brought Moriarty down a little bit, having to deal with him earlier in the night.
Yeah, Pillman actually made reference to that Moriarty might have a broken neck and ruptured discs and stuff from dealing with Alexander. Pillman gets the win with a jackhammer off the top rope, which was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's something that you don't see too often. Definitely don't think Goldberg ever tried pulling that off. So, anytime you can come up with something new and, different that people don't see a lot, you're going to get a pop out of it. And that was a nice finish to the match to be able to be crowned the champion.
So Super Indy does not, I lost the word, doesn't disappoint. Once again, Super Indy, one of my favorite IWC events. Reloaded, everybody knows, is my favorite. But Super Indy right there as well. I can't say anything else, but it was another 6 out of 6 by IWC for me.
Yes, a great show. This is my first show. I've been back in person with all the new restrictions and everything going on in the world. And you said it, Super Indy. this is going to be the 10th time I'm saying it. Prestigious, historic, great. I wanted to be there in attendance, and definitely the 8 performers did not let me down, did not let the fans down. Great in-ring work, great performers. But what did let me down, and I was saving that for here at the end for the rating, was the crowd. You know, yes, I know that it's not court time. Court time is home for IWC. Court time has that feel. We're all in there together, packed shoulder to shoulder. We get loud, we get rowdy. And if this show was at court time, 6 out of 6 for me. With it being at the ball fields, and you know how big of a baseball fan I am, it's great to see the atmosphere there. It was a very great stadium. But just the fans kind of killed the event for me. Not a lot of cheering. I don't know if the cloudy, gloomy weather had something to do with it. But like I said, great in-ring work. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 6. If you want to go on the network and watch it, this is definitely a great event to do it if you love the work, the in-ring work. But again, I hope next week just those fans bring it, because IWC is a great company, and these fans are normally some of the loudest ever. And but yeah, just they did disappoint me last night.
Yeah, I didn't even hear Bradley Ruthers last night, which kind of disappointed me. So I give you that.
Never go a show without hearing that crew.
Yeah, you know what actually gave it bonus points? If we could give it, if I could give it a 7, you know what I got to do, Soup, for the first time since January? First time since January.
I know. You got to hug Jenny Plummer.
I got to hug Jenny Plummer. And you know what? I was waiting for you to come to the door, and she saw me, our eyes connected, and we both said, screw it, we're breaking the law. We did it right behind security's back. I gave her a big hug, told her I loved her, I missed her, and I truthfully mean that. Being back around everybody, we got to talk to Kayla, we saw the Trestlers. Like, this was a family reunion for me last night. Come hell or high water, or my wife's still saying you probably shouldn't go, I fucking went, and I'm happy that I did.
Oh, hell yeah, me too. You know, the last time I was here on the show was when we had our actual family reunion. Now I get to be back on here for our IWC family reunion. Like we said, great atmosphere in IWC. Jenny's running the company great, able to get Alexander to come in late, able to, put on a great show outdoors. But Justin still, oh God, poor Jenny. But hey, great job, Jenny. Great job, Plumbers. Great job, IWC. Overall, good show. Good show.
Good show. All right, Soup, we're going to wrap this up. I'll see you next week, clearly.
Oh, hell yeah. See you next weekend. Can Crusher Nations, keep listening. Email in. Use your collar and elbow promo code, Can Crushers, all one word, capital C in Can, capital C in Can, or in Crushers. Give you 10% off. Get the great apparel. And go back, listen to Spotlights, and watch wrestling. That's it.
That's awesome. I don't have to do an ending. That's the way we're going to do. But, Soup, just remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean we can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.